Funk Soul Brother. There we go, folks. Welcome back to Holden Court. Feels like it's been forever. Tonight, I have three powerhouses with me. Mistah Mahvel,
Hey.
Rodrigo,
Hi.
and Comic Rebirth.
Hello, everyone.
And so tonight, we, as the title says, making comics great again. Because yes, we make comics, folks. We make comics. We love what we do. Even though there are things that go on in the comics industry in the large, as well as our little community, that we try to do. We try to do right by each other. We watch out for each other's backs. We promote each other's works. We support each other. Emotionally, spiritually, financially, what have you. We got each other's backs because we aren't going to forget. If one of us happens to reach the cream of the crop, we're not going to forget where we came from. We're not going to forget the people that helped us get to that point. Because if we do, we'll break out the pitchforks and torches and go after them, humble their ass, as the Iron Sheik would say, "To humble you." So everybody's doing good. So has anybody been making some art lately?
I have been. I've been quite busy. Quite busy bee lately. I feel good again. So I've been just riding that.
That's good, because I know with your reveal on Free Comic Day, the wand pool reveal, which surprised the hell out of me. That was like, I'm surprised you kept that to yourself, Mistah Mahvel.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. It was I was a little nervous. I don't know. You get that cold feet last second, and you're like, dude, is this actually good? Is this something good? And I was just like, too late now. Put it out there, cross my fingers, hope for the best, and I'm really, I don't know. I'm taken back at the response to Wampool. I never would have thought my premier character would be Wampool. Ever. But now I can't imagine working on anything else. That's the funny thing.
You found something you love. You love doing it, clearly, because the pages and everything. It shocked me to see, actually, because a lot of people, I'm used to the all talk, no show. I think a lot of people are. I got this great comic, and you can't wait to see it, and like nothing happens. I might show some sketches, some prelims, but that's it. That's all it'll ever be. But you put up or shut up. You put up, man. You really put up. So, bravo to you.
I mean, yeah, just a lot of people, especially guys like Rodrigo himself, when you see people succeeding, you say to yourself, why ain't I doing what they're doing? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to say he makes it look easy, because you can tell how hard everybody works, but it's like, you see everybody start producing, and you're like, I can sit here forever and say, I'll eventually do this. Or you could just, make your story, and it's time for us to make stories, dude,
Exactly. I mean, that's another thing about, making stories. I know Rebirth been working on, Apple Core and everything, doing it a different path, because Rodrigo doing the designs and the writing, you're doing everything, Mistah Mahvel. I'm doing everything with my stuff. And so it's all just, we do as much as we can, and putting work into it. And so with yours, any news, any updates? Rebirth?
Well, yeah, since I have like this new job now, I'll like actually be able to pay the person who does my artwork a lot more. So basically, paycheck means more comic pages, and hold on one sec.
All right.
Can't go. Sorry about that.
Dog.
No, two cats. I'm about to fight. So I have to get rid of them first. But yeah, anyway, like I said, with like me getting this new job, that means I'm like able to pay my artists for like more pages.
Mhm.
And I'm like almost done with issue 1. So I'm just trying to get like that last spark so I can like go on to issue 2 and everything.
That's great, yeah. Because I mean, I know you were saying how you wanted it kind of stalled out a little bit because of financial issues and everything like that. That's another thing people don't realize when you're doing everything yourself. When you are growing an audience and you're trying to grow a project, some people wait until they got enough followers, enough backing. Like, it's hard to grow when you don't have nothing to show, and the the prospects aren't necessarily the most rosy, for trying to get their comic out there and getting more people on board to be embracing your comic and doing the thing. But yeah, it's great. I mean, I'm glad to hear things are coming together for you.
Thanks.
You are welcome. And Rodrigo, we've been seeing some of the sketches, some of the prelims, kind of concepts for Volume 2, Red Ninja Momiji, and I'm digging it, man. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, that is a comic I do want to check out.
You need to. It's great.
Thanks.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, it's the sketch is finished, but I gonna release after I have 3 or 4 more characters finished, because I don't want to jump too soon. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yep, you're good.
Yeah. Well, it's the first character I've been creating. I needed some villain, a female villain. I think I have her look worked. I hope to start working with the rest of the characters tonight, later, and see what's happened.
Sounds like a good idea, man. And things are coming together for you with working on the characters, because that's another thing. Character design, doing that kind of thing, like latching onto it and then keeping at it. Because if you don't have interesting, again, it's not only just what the character is personality-wise, the way it's written, but also the look. And that's one thing Red Ninja Momiji, the first volume, did not lack. I mean, everything was like, it's like that thing for Starship Troopers. Would you like to know more? Question mark. Yes,
yeah.
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
So you're doing the Lord's work, as it were.
Huh. Yeah. For me, for me, the character design is I think is the part of the process I like more. Create the clothes, the hair, the general look of the character. I think is the part I can work more easy, and my only problem is I'm not too good drawing yet, so I started to work in a second character today, but it's like I forget how to draw again. It's a slow process for me, but at least it's the part I like more.
Yeah, that happens to me as well. I mean, I actually I don't know if any like I don't know, Miss Marvel or Rodrigo, you have this issue, because I know Rebirth. I don't know. You said you just write because you don't draw, because he's like stick figures. I think last time we talked.
Yeah, pretty much. I can just draw stick people.
Well, I'm pretty sure your stick people have better consistency than mine, because there are times when I'm looking at my art. I'm working on a project that a friend of mine was visiting back last September, visiting North Carolina, and he was like, "So what you working on?" And I started working on this project. It was a totally different thing at the time, and it's been since September that I've actually finally got some progress. Yesterday I finished all the interiors, 16 pages of pencils, rough pencils, and today I actually finished a rough cover and did a color test on it, kind of like a color mock-up with logo and everything. And I guess it'd be world premiere. Let me go ahead and screen share. Share, and here is the world premiere, the cover for my neon trash with peaches.
I like that. Nice.
Looks really nice.
Thank you.
Nice.
Fine.
Well, see, I wanted to go with something very much, clearly it says 80s, the logo and everything. And the reason it's so blurry, if you actually were to print this out at actual size, this is actually like 1 inch by 1.5 inches. This is how tiny digitally this thing is, because I sketch tiny and then blow it up, even digitally. Right. And so I can actually look at the whole picture, and that's what this whole thing is. And it'll look better once it's finished, because some of the stuff is like kind of washed out and blurred, because it's literally like 1 inch. It's smaller than a postage stamp. But I want to make this happen, because I've talked about this comic to one friend, and he's like, "Hey, where's it at, man? Where's it at?" So that was my mistake. Never talk about something until it's actually finished. So
yeah, no,
very true.
Yeah, that's also what I want to do. No, don't show anything until it's properly finished.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only reason I did that, because I was like, I'm really stoked about it, and it's like, that's how it's going to be. I'm actually working on the back cover, which is the problem, because the sketch I wanted for the back cover for this, like, I actually looked for photo reference, and nothing on Google or DuckDuckGo or any of that could actually support what I wanted. I wanted something like, there's like, you think in your head you can see it, like, well, I know Mr. Mahvel, Rebirth, I don't know if you can see it, but a sexy woman on the hood of a car, like, splayed out, like oh, ooh la la, kind of like pinup girl kind of deal.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I can't find it. To me, it doesn't exist. I've looked, and like the closest thing is like something like someone squatting on the hood of a car, like it would like like a tooth floss, dental floss between between her cheeks. And that's it. Like, that doesn't help me none. That's not the pose I wanted. So I had to make something up, and so I did. And the back cover and the front cover will look nothing alike, pencil wise. So far, I can correct it in inks. But it's like, that's something I always have a problem with, the consistency. And, the thing is practice. But to me, it almost gets boring if I stay in the same style. So it's almost like 3 or 4 different artists live inside my hand. And
I hear that. My biggest problem, really, especially with like Juanpo, is consistency of his size. And I'm constantly having to remind myself that he's, you know what I mean, of his size in comparison to what's around him. Because sometimes, you know what I mean, he's a big dude. He's not
exactly. Oh, damn right,
yeah. He's a big dude. I'd say he's pushing close to 6 feet, probably 380. You know what I mean? This is a big guy. And it's very easy sometimes to forget that. Especially like in those first few panels behind his computer. I constantly had to remember that this had to be a huge guy hunching over. You know what I mean? That it wasn't going to be like, when I first visualized the scene, I was actually trying to make fun of, like, how SJW Marvel, I should say, always, they have, like, their progressive heroes, like, in a little OMG, like, social media thing. And as I kept going on, I was like, no, it's going to be its own thing because of how big he is and that consistency. And so I kind of get what you're saying. It's just one of those, I do a lot of redraw, resize. And thank goodness I work digitally, that at any given time, I'll just isolate Juanpo and just raise him in size. Even the pencils themselves, I'll just, I'll isolate him, even make it its own layer, and just make it bigger. Even that one I just did, Juanpo with Regina. Mm-hmm. It was hard because I forgot his head's gonna be really huge next to hers. And it was just, sometimes it's awkward getting that consistency. So I don't know. My suggestion always is just keep doing it. If I showed people the amount of rejected drawings I do before I get to where I'm at, people wouldn't believe the time I have on my hands to do it. Because I go through a lot of, I hate that, and it's not going on.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like when you're drawing different characters, really have them stand out. Like, I have I almost was a little bit too influenced by Dan DiCarlo. He did a lot of old Sabrina Teenage Witch and Archie comics, like the Archie, Betty Veronica, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And his style, like pretty much all the characters look the same except for maybe hair. That's basically it. The nose, his face, his eyes, pretty much the same. And that's the thing. That's one of the things I've noticed about my own art, because there's like a similar thing. Like if I draw a woman that's black, facial features are going to change. Same thing. White woman. If I draw a white woman, all of them pretty much look the same. But if anybody that ain't white, I actually put features in there. Like, Asian, facial features going to change. Native American. I get Native American example. Like the jaw, the cheeks are a little bit more defined. Stronger chin. Usually a little longer face. Straighter nose. Not as not as pointy or anything like that. Like dark hair, raven hair, and everything. And a lot of people, when they draw characters, especially in comics, and me and Braylon actually, there's some women. I think Mr. Mahvel's in there too. I think you were in there as well. That's why you need, like, there's somebody that said you need to hire. That's why you need to hire people, that represent that group. So if you have a Native American character, you got to hire a Native American artist to draw that character.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, which it's like, to me it makes no sense, but I'm like, hey, it doesn't matter who the person is as long as they're good, but that's the way I look at it. But I hope you're joking. Are you joking?
Maybe not.
Maybe not. There's a little trollish behavior in you. But no, it's like, what gets me is, they to like differentiate a little bit, and also kind of visually break it up a little visually. And I put it up. I think I showed. The character, a Rob Liefeld kind of knockoff. It's kind of inspired, unfortunately, in a good way. It's if Rob Liefeld created Avatar: The Last Airbender and mixed it with Superman. It's called the Elementarian. So he's got this weird hair, giant chin, and like thick neck with veins. Looks about to pop. Looks like his head's about to pop off his shoulders. And giant wide shoulders, tiny waist, and tiny legs, and tiny feet when they're seen. So it's straight up Liefeld, but in a good way. But to compare it to other characters I draw, he looks like from a totally different person. Not just a little different, totally different. Which works, and I guess can be a bit distracting. But, most people, I guess that is not necessarily an issue, because they have that standard kind of comic style.
Yeah.
But yeah, I quite enjoy what I do, and I mean, I think that's something. I mean, you three seem to enjoy what you do as well.
Oh, I love it. Honestly, it's getting to the point where I'm starting to feel that I can make more of a career switch over to doing this. I'm starting to feel confident in my ability to put a book out and people actually get it. I don't know. You have to love what you're doing to do this, because the majority of it is a labor of love. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Nobody's paying me by the hour to do these pages for Juanpo. You know what I mean? Nobody paid me to do those 5 pages. I don't even have a Patreon. I don't have any funding. I do everything on my own. I do it with my own materials. And it's for the bigger picture. Even at one point, I remember Rodrigo tweeted out, and I agreed with him. I just don't feel like giving the people a reason to trust me, to fund me yet. I want to put something out and show people my substance. This is what you would be paying me to do. And even then, I wouldn't structure it as, hey, if you donate this much, you'll get this prize. I would do it more like the classical, artists once upon a time pledged themselves to like a lord or a lady, and they took care of the artist and, room and board and everything. And the artist just painted whatever they said. I would love to set up a system where, certain donation amounts get you entitlement to my art. So let's say the basic donating $1, you'd be owed at least 1 pencil concept a month. You know what I mean? And I'd be gearing it towards other indie creators as a way that I could give back while also supporting myself. Because I'm finding myself really, really helping out a lot lately, and I like that. It's what's motivating me. The more I put out, the more it seems people are asking me for help, and I have no problem ever. I'm not one of those artists that's like, no, I have my own scene. No, let's get it, dude. Let's do this. I'm always talking about let's share universes. Let's talk about crossovers. Because even at that point, remember how you said in the beginning, if one of us makes it, dude, if we exist in the same universe, if one of us makes it, one crossover means we are published into that series. You know what I mean? Allowing a book to spin off out of it. That would be my bigger plan. One of us makes it, we can start spinning off everyone else.
Yeah, the new Image universe, basically, how they used to do. Because even though they were under the Image banner, the Image universe is kind of a misnomer, but you had Top Cow, you had the Extreme stuff, you also had the Homage and Todd McFarlane stuff, and all of it. Oh yeah, I actually watched the Image Revolution documentary that's on Amazon Prime. Has interviews with all the guys and everything like that. It actually has an interview with a guy. He followed me, but he just tweeted too much about Donald Trump or this, that. I was like, oh, annoying. So I unfollowed him, and he's like, why did you unfollow me? And I sent a tweet I replied to him, no offense to you, you seem like a nice guy. You're just not my cup of tea. And he deleted the tweet, so the reply went like in a kind of thing. But it was funny. But it was just like whatever. But I could see some, not all my characters because they wouldn't all make sense. Meeting up with Wanpool, or Momiji. I don't see that. I don't see all of them, but I can see a good portion of them. I think that'd be kind of fun if all well and fun. Now, I mean, people do change, and I'm hopefully not for the worse, but for the better. Not become oh, you can't use my character. Larry, you can't use my character. My Wanpool, you can't use them.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. No, that's man. I love it.
I'm surprised you do a Larry voice. Like,
Larry, you can't be using the Ginger Tread because that is my character.
So I did the white man voice.
Right. No.
In my case, I really don't have any problem if people want to make fan art of my character, even for crossovers. There has been people who has asked me for permission, but I tell them that you don't need to ask me for permission if you want to make fan art of my character, unless you are gonna to sell it or something like that. And then that would be other matter entirely.
And that right there, that's the problem. Like if they're going out and making money off of something you created, it's just satire. I'm making fun of it. Oh, it's a joke.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You're making money off of my creation.
Yeah. That's always the risk when you create a character and you want to sell it. Other people will try to do that. And I understand that because at the end of the day, it's freedom of speech also. They are not completely stealing the characters. That's what's happened.
Yeah, it's like kind of in a way what Wanpool is. Like Wanpool is taking the piss out of the people that take these characters way too seriously for the most part, but also in doing so, you can, and the way the designs and their characters look with just the tiniest of tweaks, few color swaps here or there, maybe added or subtracted this or that. It's a totally different character, and you can it's one of those things where the Todd McFarlane, when he at one time he thought he had the rights because he bought Eclipse Comics. Eclipse at one time published Miracle Man, and Miracle Man, which was done by Alan Moore and then eventually done by Neil Gaiman. Todd McFarlane thought, Miracle Man. Well, turns out Neil Gaiman actually owned 50% of the profit, 50% of the character, and so McFarlane put Miracle Man out there, then had to kind of backpedal a little bit and redid the characters, the Man of Miracles, quote unquote.
I remember that.
It was kind of weird and kind of a little bit, but hey, if he could do that, I'm pretty sure if we Mr. Marvel, if
Okay.
you had to do that, I mean,
Yeah.
if you had to.
Honestly, I'm pretty sure I'd be covered because I'm not making an adventure. I'm not continuing Gwenpool or Deadpool. This doesn't exist as a continuation of anything Marvel or DC. This is comparable to Spaceballs. I am completely protected because it's a blatant parody. And it's an original story that's a blatant parody. You know what I mean? So I'm protected under certain amount of things. The biggest stink would be maybe the name. And as you read the story, I justified within universe why he's named Wampool without ever referencing anything Marvel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, even at that, they would have to eat it because it's a blatant parody. Like they would be like, "Oh, this is a ripoff of Gwenpool and Deadpool," and I'd say, "Yes, I know." You know
Even
what I mean?
when Gwenpool was a ripoff of Deadpool, anyways.
Right. But I mean, like I said, I'm pretty sure. And if not, I would change a few things here and there. And ultimately, in the end, I would be proud just to have a standalone book, whether I could publish it or not. Because people seem to like the story, and I at least want to tell it. Something about this character, I don't know why, but people have rallied behind him, and I don't know, it makes me feel really good. Because I always thought people would just make fun of the character, and it seems like, you know what I mean? Like they hold him with some kind of esteem, and that makes me happy because he's not a joke.
Well, he's a jolly fat man. How could you not like him?
Right.
I'm just saying, but it's like this kind of thing. It's like a Santa Claus for the modern day. It's this, but in a, not isolated North Pole, but behind the desk, behind the laptop, and everything like that. I mean, that's kind of basically what he is, and it works though. It's from what you've put out and what you talked about the character and everything like that. The world that this character resides in, where it's weird. I don't know if I never actually played the game. I saw the ads for it and kind of imagined myself playing the game because I was a console peasant.
Right.
I've never been the PC master race, but well, it's that game.
I said I'm too poor for
Yeah.
PC right now.
Well, it's like they cost so much money to the PCs and everything. Like $300, $400, $500, you just plunk that down. That's all you got to do for a console. No more. You don't have to upgrade it, none of that stuff. And then you just buy the games. But now you got to upgrade, new processor or whatever. But what I was saying is the City of Heroes, that game, that's what Wanpool and that universe reminds me of. Like I could see there's nothing at least in the short story that's in Volume 1 of Red Ninja Momiji, as well as the main story, that says like that character, the Elementarian, couldn't show up. This guy, like this kind of Rob Liefeld looking guy, couldn't show up or something. Like it's like the fabric of reality is kind of thin in that regard. It's a little bit of leeway. It's like, of course, if I'm going to use anybody's character in our community, I'd ask beforehand. I'd DM them and everything like that, because it's like that would. Because some people, they'll throw a temper tantrum. I've seen it happen occasionally. It's not that often, but some people, they can't handle being rejected. There's a lot of kind of introverted people. Some people are a little too tightly wound for society in general, let alone behind the keyboard where they kind of feel safe and a little bit more empowered to do or say whatever. But I'm kind of interested in seeing. What you three do. I mean, like from here on out, you've already shown what you can do. And it's just fascinating. And I wonder if let's say a year from now, Mr. Marvel's got his book out by Antarctica Press or whatever. Same thing, Rodrigo. Rebirth. Let's say all three you got, like Antarctica Press is like, they rose up from obscurity because really, other than their funny animal comics and a couple of parodies and like, it's Army of Darkness, but with Obama on the cover, that kind of thing. It's like, that's all they would do for the longest time. It's kind of try to stay hip and relevant. And I've said it before. It's like somebody says, "Oh, people are talking about Antarctica Press." Like, yeah, because nobody has ever talked about them, and it's the truth. Like they've been there and they've been around since like 92 or something like that. But they've, like Image has always been higher. Hell, Alterna's higher than them. Like, there's a lot of people like they're kind of in a way a vanity press. They put stuff out. But the formats are really weird. If you look at their submission pages and stuff, it's kind of odd. It seemed very strict. It's like, oh, nobody sends us any like submissions. Like, I wonder why. If I'd publish it myself, or maybe try Image or something, like something where a little bit better distribution. Because I've said before, I've never seen a single new Antarctica Press comic on the shelves at a comic store, and I've been to a bunch. Not all of them, but enough on the East Coast. So it's got like 3 in Maryland, like 5 in North Carolina. Actually, when there was 5 that I could actually get to easily enough, but it's just a little weird. But I think do you think once you kind of make it that you 3 could be, like are willing to kind of help bring other people up? Or do you think
I would.
Well, that's what I said. That's what I really want to see happen, dude. That's why I'm actually, like I said, I'm dead set on trying to get some kind of multiple crossovers going on with everybody. You know what I mean? Rags put a great tweet out where he made it really basic. By coming up with simple but significant tie-ins, you automatically share a universe. It doesn't have to be necessarily somewhere where you say, okay, let's say, for example, Momiji and Juanpo. I set Juanpo in the fictional New England. I've taken New England and I've lumped it into a state. At that point in the universe, people would know New England is my term. You'd probably be doing if you're bringing it to that city, let's say that's the equivalent of Metropolis. You know what I mean? You would start working within the confines of what I made there. And then, Rodrigo would do the same with his world, making a major city within a fictional U.S. That allows people to make small crossovers. You know what I mean? And that's all you really... even already now, I tied Juanpo to Rags simply by mentioning that in his universe, there is also a zombie apocalypse happening in California. Right then and there, Juanpo's adventure validates that Regina is going through exactly what we're reading right now from Rags. You know what I mean? You now know, simultaneously, as she's doing her adventure, somewhere in a cushy little apartment, there's a fat guy getting ready to lose all his shit. Very small, but very significant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So tiny little things are what would tie somebody.
Well, I also think one thing about all the universes and everything, as well as like kind of the philosophy, is what is my end goal, and it's simple but also very complicated, is to continue to enjoy making comics no matter what format, size, concept, whatever. Doesn't matter, sci-fi, auto-bio, just continue to make comics that I enjoy. I know that's not a very specific goal, but that's what I want to do, because I've seen a lot of people, they have mental breakdowns from comics. Comics like there's a Kirby quote, "Comics will break your heart, kid." They will not only break your heart, but destroy your mind if you let them. And I've seen it happen, and it's sad.
It's happening right now, actually.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
In some ways, happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like, oh, sorry, Rebirth. You're saying something?
I was just saying, yep.
Yeah, so on the outside, like with a slight, like few seconds delay, like a second or so delay, kind of go, oh, what? But on my part, but I guess it ain't elephant in the room, but it's like somebody to look at what happened to Richard with the whole Jawbreakers thing, which, like, whatever. But that could make somebody just want to quit. And if that person wants to quit because, oh my God, I'm never going to do anything like that. No, you won't. So either you accept it and keep going, or give up. And for some people, like, no, you can do it. Like if you have to, it's like it is kind of like like life is tough. Life isn't fair, and you have to accept that and overcome it, or just give up. You know, it's like but if every single time you have to rely on an outside force to kind of drag you, it's kind of like I'll hold this open for you. I'll make it a little easier on you. I mean, all the time. Like once in a while, that right there, like, you know, watching each other's backs, checking up on everybody's mental health. You know, also if they need any help, whatever. Like, I actually do care about the community. I could be a soulless prick. I've self-admitted asshole. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. That's who I am.
Me too.
And, but then my idea is like, I went from supporting some people to being like a month or two later, being like, I'd spit on him if I could without getting arrested for assault because he spit on somebody. But if there wasn't laws in place, I probably would do that. I like to stay out of jail. But even with all that, there are lots of people I actually care about to see them. I want to see them do well and be happy. Not everybody, but a lot of people. And this whole like, oh, you should be happy for everyone. Like I will give a little bit, and if you give a little bit as well. But if you're just take, screw you. And you can actually tell, like, you know, who people like that. Like, if there was a problem, and if either of you three, I think either of you three could help, I think you would. And that's like, you know, the quality of people I try to associate myself with. And I think that might be kind of somewhat general, if not, you know, maybe possibly universal in our little comics community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wish that there's more people that would, you know, kind of like reach out.
Because if one person starts to have success, that will mean that more people will be able to have success if they keep working.
Right, it's like a train thing. Right.
It's like, well, for me, it's like the Richard thing. I know people are, oh, you know, happy for him. You know, I'm not in that camp, but whatever. But what I'm saying is, he's not the kind, you know, to like, hey, I need some help. If you can't make him any shekels, he ain't gonna help you. That's just the bottom line.
But the shekels are everything.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. For me, I actually have to love what I do. I have to enjoy the people I surround myself with. You know, I don't. You know, like in the end, none of it matters. That's the thing. Like, I think that's like the story of life. None of it matters in the end. But while you're doing it, that's what matters. I enjoy making my comics. I enjoy helping out people if I can, especially people I know. But
I'm gonna be dead honest. For a while, I was really I was really kind of salty and really kind of jealous. And then I was finally able to shake it off and remember I wouldn't even be here making comics if Richard didn't pretty much red pill me and make me aware of everything. For that, I will always owe him a great debt, and I will want to see him succeed in any way I can help, simply because what he said in the early beginnings is all that counts to me, because it's what brought me here. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Yeah,
where you're coming from.
I wouldn't be here without diversity in comics. And no matter who he is as a person, no matter how he conducts himself, it's actually secondary to me now. Because I place him at a level of, you know, and not like putting him on a pedestal, but much respect my boy Zach. You know what I mean? He put us all on, bro. In a way, he really did get the ball moving. Whether or not he profited and everything is based off of that, everyone can debate back and forth. But to me, the reason I support diversity in comics is simply because I would still probably be a miserable bastard not making one pool right now. So that, you know what I mean? I owe a great
I feel the same. I feel the same.
To diversity in comics, no matter what. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though Captain Cummins is my favorite, just said it. There, I said it. Whatever.
I'm not laughing at it. I'm like, I look at simply a pencil. I was like, yeah, a step. You like a human step. You just step it. Like, hey, thanks for the lift up, bro. And then just like step on them and then on your way up the ladder. It's like it's like the wrestling when they gotta go for like the money in the bank. You gotta climb the ladder to get the money in the bank. Yeah,
right.
He's like the first rung. But I see, like that right there. You softened me a little bit towards him. You softened me a little bit. There was a chink in the armor. You got to me a little bit, but no. But it's like whatever, you know. Like I've been making comics since 2008. Actually, 2007 was the first one I did. I did it a week before Thanksgiving, and it was the first actual comic. I'm talking about, you know, cover, back cover, interior, and everything like that. I actually printed it up myself. And it was like a late start because I'd always been drawing and doing some sequential stories, but never anything of substance, like, you know, a few pages here and there. But I started out in like kind of the independent scene, photocopier, all that stuff. And I loved doing that because I didn't have to wait weeks or a month or two to get orders of comics back. I can make them myself at the local photocopy place. I could do this. I could do that. Nothing was stopping me. And it was so powerful to, like, I could come and some of the comics I actually had to be very cautious because some of them considered blasphemous because of the content, and there's still very religious people here in the South, and I was like, oh geez. And some of them were adult content, nudity and stuff like that. Like there's one where Hitler gets his face ripped off and a bunch of naked angels ascend into heaven. So it's like really weird comics. But this is the kind of stuff I do. I enjoy doing what I do. It doesn't have a message. And I mean, when I was out at that one convention I did at the Zine Fest out in Denver, that was held in that gay church. And the person's like, what does your comic mean? I said, it's just there to entertain. That's not enough. It could be so much more. I'm like, no, it's a comic. It should entertain first and foremost. That's the goal, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right, that should be like the number one goal of like any form of entertainment. Entertain me, and if there's a message in there, then, you know, don't shove it down my throat.
Exactly. Like you look at I was looking through X-Men, God Loves Man Kills, that graphic novel by Chris Claremont and Brent Anderson, and not only does it's a beautiful comic, well written, great characters. The plot basically inspired X-Men 2, and in doing so, you know, it kind of takes upon the very televangelist stuff from the 80s, but the bigotry on both sides, because there's some issues between, you know, mutants and humans and mutants and everything like that. There's some brutal stuff, like a kid gets like shot in it, and then the kid's sister's like, why did you do this? Kid gets shot, and then it's like, because you shouldn't exist, you know, because of little girls and mutants. Really horrible stuff, but well done. It's like it's about bigotry, and it's about people, you know, people being, you know, at the end of the day, people being people. And also Magneto is right as always, but it's such a good comic. Even though it has a message, it doesn't matter because it's the craft of the entertaining, captivating work. And that's another thing, captivating. There's very few, like Wanpool captivated me. All right. Actually,
thank you.
All three comics you three have done have actually captivated me. It's like, I'd like to know more. Not, oh God, I got to support this because I know these people. You know, it's like, I think that's a common thing in some circles, but thank Christ, I don't have to worry about that. I'm very lucky. But you get like, and it's like, well, same thing with Josh Finney and Cat Rocha, you know, with their, you know, the Case File Arkham comics, and it's like, it's great to see people being creative and making stuff they love as well as it being good. But so many comics are mediocre these days. It's a simple concept, nothing really, like, if you're gonna go like the Neon Trash, that cover, that comic basically boils down to, what if RoboCop was a sex bot?
Nice.
That's basically it. But it's done in an interesting way. There's some really twisted, messed up stuff.
I'm really interested in that comic, actually.
Well, I'm glad to hear it because I can't wait to actually get it out there. It's
because how I can say it. I think the sex appeal in comics is sorry, I don't find the word. I think the element of sex appeal is getting lots in comics, especially in these times.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
There is a complete lack of sex appeal. And it goes back to the whole, when I always say they just want to make heroes mediocre so that people feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
But
you're
not supposed to be able to be Miss Marvel. She's a goddess amongst men. She's a divine goddess. You know what I mean? Basically, you're not supposed to attain that. That they're supposed to be the perfect example of women. Same way, you can. You actually can if you work out hard enough. You can look like any 90s female Marvel superhero. God, those were good times.
Yeah.
God, good times.
Ugh. That's another thing. Like I was talking to a person that actually works in a comics professional, and I was talking to her actually this morning, and she was talking about how I'm mentioning how some people, they've changed characters' looks and everything like that, and to get away from the male gaze. And she's like, I was reading these comics and I was loving the beautiful, especially the '90s X-Men, loving how beautiful these women were, and actually seeing because you got Rogue, who's basically when you think about it, she is fully covered neck to toe. She's got a headband, the bomber jacket. She's got a lot of clothing on, but that sex appeal, you couldn't. And since actually people are mistaken, she has basically been wearing the same costume since like '97, which is that kind of that green oversized hoodie. Like they did get a little sexy when they did that Uncanny Avengers book, but it's basically the same thing. That '90s costume was perfect. They shouldn't have messed with that. Don't mess with perfection. But
they don't like it. They don't like that shit anymore.
No, they hate that. They hate those times now. They don't want to do anything related to that except it's alternative cover.
Yeah, the Frank Cho. Like you'll get this bland generic cover that's okay, and then you got like a Frank Cho variant where actual official Frank Cho, not his outrage. Like the Harley Quinn covers, which are like okay. The variants are better than the actual comics. I tried giving that first issue. I gave one of the issues a shot. It was fart jokes, puke jokes, just bad. Not even I can't even call them jokes. Attempts at humor was what that Harley Quinn book was like. I heard people say, "Oh, it's horrible" and all this and that. It actually was. Like, nah, it ain't that. It ain't gonna be bad. Like, yeah, it was. But
oh, I'd love to take over a Harley book, bro. Oh my God.
It's so simple. It is such a simple book, but they screw it up. I mean, what can I say? That's another thing. They screw up so many of these books, and it's just it's uncalled for. But that's why it's like, oh, it's a shame they don't want my money. Okay, fine. I'll go someplace else that wants my money. I'll go to a creator-owned book. It's like instead of buying like taking a chance on whatever generic Marvel or DC books out there, because people forget DC is just as bad as Marvel. There are so many generic books, so many generic. They're like whatever. They're not horrible. They're not great. They're just That's the meh books. But I picked up Red Ninja Momiji. I did not regret it. It was a damn good price, damn good book. I had fun reading it. I wanted more, and that's the thing. I wanted more. I've read so many comics these days. Like, oh God, I'm glad that's over. Chucked it, behind me. Like I'll be riding back from picking up my comics, and I'll make my brother drive my car. I hate being a passenger in my own vehicle, but like I'm reading my comics. Like, okay, so I'm reading the comics, and there's like that Harley Quinn book got chucked in the back seat after I read it. It's like, oh, the hell with this, and just got chucked back there. And I've been lucky enough to seek out creator-owned books that haven't done me like that I've got attached to. and it's great to see people do their thing and actually bring their ideas live, even if some of their ideas aren't the most groundbreaking. They're doing it, and that's the big part. They are doing it.
I would love to see more people doing it. Actually, we got a lot of talented people, and I don't know. I mean, eventually, if there's enough people with books and there's enough people passing them around, some publisher is gonna get smart and be like, "All right, I'll take you guys." You know what I mean? And that's why, you know me, Larry. I've always pushed for the, I love Marvel. I love DC. I love all these characters. But at a certain point, nostalgia will keep this industry on life. You know what I mean? Like, if you love your great granddaddy and he's on life support and he's not alive anymore, just pull the plug, dude. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
have mercy on the soul. Like, dude, how much longer do we want to see these characters dragged out? And the more you fight to keep them alive, the more they're going to be dragged out. I don't care. Unpopular opinion. Even if you undid one more day, it's too late for me. It's too late. It's done. It's done. You know what I mean? Sorry, you ruined Spider-Man and Mary Jane. Sorry, you ruined it. It's done. You know what I mean? And let's be honest, this is current Marvel. If they undid it, it would be some bullshit thing like Mephisto said, all right, now you guys are stuck together and can never leave, but you're not going to be in love anymore. And now we just have tales of an unhappy, toxic marriage because they hate any kind of normal, traditional thing. You know what I mean? They're not going to make us happy. They're not going to appease us. They're going to keep dangling rotten meat in front of hungry dogs. And that's not right. You know what I mean? Let's make new adventures. Let's make new characters then. You know what I mean? So that in 50, 60 years, Gen Y is angry at the younger generation for ruining our characters. And they'll be talking about, that's never what Rodrigo meant for Momiji to be. You know what I mean? Then let's give the next generation their new characters, since these ones are ruined.
I'm halfway tempted to redesign Momiji as somebody would do modern Marvel. The modern Marvel.
No, please don't.
Sorry.
I would do that.
I can see it how they could ruin her forever.
Oh God, they would.
Making her look like a stick.
Yeah, they would give
and cover her face for completely.
Mm-hmm.
She'd have a pantsuit.
They give her Kate Bishop's body, right? They give her a full body suit, reduce her breasts to a peck, no blood. She'd be pissed off, and they cut her hair a lot shorter, probably shaved on one side. Ooh.
Oh no! Okay, yeah, that's a horrible idea, even as a joke. Yeah, that's a real bad. I did think of something while everything's been going on. I think, and after watching that Image Revolution documentary, I don't think everybody said it was the speculator market that kind of broke Marvel and broke DC as well, because after what I think happened is Marvel being this scumbags that they were then and are now, not paying people what they were owed and everything, and then when the Image creators left, it broke the industry. Because these were the highest paying people. Like they were saying in the documentary, they had to earn, I think it was Mark Silvestri saying they had to sell 60,000 comics. This is like 92, 60,000 comics to make as much as they were doing at Marvel, as making as much as they did at Marvel. And 60,000 back then isn't that much. You're talking it was like $2 cover price, $2.50. And so you got to think about a third of that actually goes to the creators' pockets, and then out of that third, they got to break down for the office staff and what have you. So that isn't a lot, but they sell millions of copies. The Youngblood and Wildcats and all the rest of that stuff. But after they left, what did Marvel do? They just went from event, trying to keep people around. You went from the Executioner Song to Bloodlines to Fatal Attractions and Bloodlines and all the these event with the X-Men books. Same thing with the Image. I mean, the Image was doing their thing. There really wasn't any events over at Image until much later on. But and then what did DC do? Because of sales, the Image was outdoing everything. They kill off Superman. They break Batman's back. These kind of crazy over the top events just to boost sales because Image is taking their limelight. There's these guys are selling, even though they were not shipping on time and doing all this horrible stuff. So in a way, Marvel not paying people what they were owed broke the industry, and because speculator stuff was already going on, and it turned the people that were buying the baseball and football and basketball cards and stuff, and just turned their direction towards the comics and started buying that stuff, and it started inflating, and just made everything worse. But the Marvel DC, really the industry's been on life support for 20 years, like 96, 97, 20 years or so. And in doing so, because not pulling the plug, nothing's actually changed. We're still beholden to Diamond. We're still, even though at the time Marvel screwed the pooch there, they had Heroes World distributed in books, specifically for Marvel. That went, that went tits up. And so they ended up, having to sign up with Diamond, and that's why we got this distribution problems we have now. Totalitarian monopoly that is Diamond. But
yeah, they are. They're like the Hitlers.
But I honestly see you three doing your thing and keep on doing it until the wheels come off, until you're not able to do it no more, and even then you still try to find a way. I really don't see either of you giving up. It's like I don't see that in what I in my headspace, how I perceive you all, which is good.
No, in my case, it really depends, because I can draw comics by myself. I need to get resources to hire somebody to do it for me, and in this case for volume 2, I think I have to do that. I can draw this. I can still draw. I can do it by myself.
Well, I mean, I've seen your art. I mean, you're not a bad artist, dude. I know you're probably not. You were saying, I think previously, that you weren't the most confident in what you can do.
I don't know. The problem is I want to present my characters with more quality of what I can do it right now. I need somebody. I need to hire people to do this. So I probably, there is always the risk I won't be able to keep doing this for too much long time.
Maybe get like an inker or something to help you out.
I don't know. I need to study out to see what I can do with this and see what happens.
You'll figure something out.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you will, because it's like, I mean, you're not, you're not completely starting out with no kind of skills at all, like having no clue how to draw, not even stick figures, but it's at least stick figures or something. But like, there's some people that I understand where they get frustrated. They have no idea. They have this idea in head, but no practical way to bring it to life. I mean, I know some people, they were using those bit strips, where it's like basically pre-made comic characters, and you can put them in situations and backgrounds and all that.
Really? What's that? What?
I did a podcast with a dude. He used to do that. They're bit strips. They went from being it was website only, then they did an app, and so everybody started doing it, and it kind of cut into his thing. So it kind of pissed him off, and the guy had a temper. Oh my god! Like, he was a very frustrated guy. I think he was he was what is that term? Henpecked.
Okay.
By his wife, and his daughter didn't respect him. Daughter was a brat. I had the pleasure of having to sleep on a futon that had a inflatable mattress on top of it, and I'd wake up and nearly get scratched in the face. I woke up eye to eye with a cat that nearly took my damn eye out.
Oh man!
Because the futon is where the cat would sleep, and apparently that's where like I was intruding. So I had to watch. So I actually would cover my face with a blanket, even though it was hot and it would get uncomfortable. I'd rather keep my face in check and not look like a Rokusaki. So it's like going around, like with bladed shoulder pads and everything like that. But yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, the bit strips were, and there's a couple others kind of programs. There's like some of them are drawing assistant programs, kind of like posers and stuff like that, which I know help a lot of artists. But you just tell when a lot of people use them because the art's very stiff. It doesn't have much life to it. And Rebirth, with the artists you got working with you, very talented. Very much reminds me of Jay Lee. He did you might know his work. He did Inhumans. He did The Century. He did the Dark Tower books that Marvel put out, the adaptation of the Stephen King books.
I'll have to check those out.
Yeah, you chose wisely with the artists, and it's one of these things. Like, actually, your work actually reminds me of the book Hell Shock that Jay Lee put out. It was an Image book from back in the day. It's like I can't barely remember what it's about. Some nurse and some crazy dude, and it's very gothic and dark and all that stuff. And that's what kind of reminds me of a bit. But which is like I just remember feelings and emotions about it, not necessarily anything specific, because it was so weird. But I really think that when it comes to comics, it doesn't matter if you're doing it traditionally or digitally, as long as you're doing it, because I got so sick and tired of these people like, oh, I'm doing a comic. Okay, it's great. It's gonna be 400 pages. I'm like, oh no, you're not one of those guys. It's like
400 pages. That's never gonna happen.
If it's a comic strip size, like the comic strip thing, I could see that possible. I could see that's possible. Like three images, 3 panels, 3 panels. I could see that. But a standard comic book format in a digital space, first off, doesn't look right. I mean, it's you can make it work, but it just doesn't look natural. Because if you look at standard comic, a lot of times it gets cropped and everything. You got to click on it. So if you're scrolling by, you only see part of it. Doesn't look right because it's zoomed in. It's cropped, digitally cropped. But it's these people. They aim way too high when it comes to a lot of these projects. As far as it's going to take you years if you actually finish it. You don't just start something, and it's like, start small. Crawl before you walk before you run. You start running, then if you start slowing down, you'll trip, stumble, fall, and break your neck. If that's all you know how to do in your life is run. If you don't know how to walk, it's like, it's kind of weird that way. Like some of these people, when their projects are outlooks, it's like, all right, that's a write-off. I'm not going to bother keeping check with that. But I mean, maybe that's a bit cruel on my part, but I don't know. I really don't.
No, man, ain't nothing wrong with feeling that way.
So, if there's any, as far as the wildest goal for each of you to achieve, and whether that be keep creating creative works to the point of getting hired, like what the Image guys did when they did Heroes Reborn, where they bring you in to work on some like take the characters out of that universe and do your own thing, like when they did the Heroes Reborn stuff, or have a cartoon or toy line. Like your craziest or wildest notion for your what you want to do for the future.
I don't know. I just want to get my 3-part origin arc out there, and then I really don't know what to do next. I mean, I know what I want to do next, but I think right now I just kind of want to establish myself as a published creator before I make any other moves. You know what I mean? I just want to get published. Really, because I just want to start punching it. Other like someone like Kwanzaa. I want to get published so I can be like, shut up, dog. I got something too. Now I can, you know what I mean? Because he loves to dismiss people like, what have you published? So I just want to get something out there so I can get legitimized. At that point, I'm not sure what I do. A cartoon would be cool. A cartoon would be really cool. A One-Pool cartoon would be awesome.
Yeah.
No motivation to do that anytime soon.
Right, it's like right now, I probably have to say my main goal is this to prepare everything for autumn of comics next year. After that, I don't really know. Maybe a TV show or something.
That'd be cool. I want even one of those. After watching that first few episodes of that Karate Kid, the Cobra Kai show, the Karate Kid sequel, because Daniel Velez, he's like, "Oh man, you need to watch this." And I was like, I guess it'll be okay. And I'm like, damn it, now I got to get YouTube Red because it's that good. So even if it's digital, you can do a show digitally now, and this actually looks great. As far as digital distribution, and not like how Netflix does or whatever, Amazon. So yeah, I mean that'd be great. I like to see that.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah. Well, my objective with Momiji is to present 4 graphic novels every year. I want to do the same thing like that Diversity and Comics is doing with Kickstarter or Indiegogo. I know I'm a little far away from that, but I think I might get a chance. The more people know my project, probably I could get a small campaign to release the comic digitally and keep growing from there. My intention is to create a business. I don't really. I like what I do, but I want to turn this into something I can live from. I have also a lot of ideas for other comics, not just Momiji. I hope I can do that independently.
I hope so too, because I love what you've come up with and the world that you've already created. So I'm pretty sure anything else you touch will be pretty much golden. So I really hope you three can actually achieve this and more, because it's actually nice to see somebody do whether I know that person really well or not. It's like just doing their thing and not letting like kind of like there's some people that will do a project and they might not be the most confident about it, but it's like keep going, try. If you fail, you fail. You take the L, you learn from it, and it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be quite hard. It's going to hurt. It will hurt, but hopefully you can learn from that.
Yeah, I've been doing this for 3 years. It's been really, really hard. I have felt the need to stop and give up and do another thing because I have sacrificed so much time and some money with this. Right now, I don't have anything else going on, but so I'm being dedicating myself to this project, but I'm still looking for alternatives.
Well, and even if you have to do it yourself, even if you have to pull a kind of a self-publishing kind of deal where like you're taking care of everything yourself, which some people don't really care for. They'd rather have like underneath like Image or like say Alterna or what have you. Even then, it's like if you can make money off of it. I mean, you may not be Walking Dead money, but hey, if you can make money off of what you love and perpetuate that, I mean that's that's a damn good goal.
I don't want to be a millionaire. I just want to keep to live decently and keep producing new comics, new works. I really don't have that need to be rich.
Well, it's
I kind of just want to have more time with my kid and let her have the coolest dad. You know what I mean? Let her be the one with the coolest dad in school. You know what I mean? Like I really would love to give my kid that life of holy crap, my dad makes comic books. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yes, he sounds really cute.
You know what I mean? Like my life has changed a lot in the last few months, and I realized that making my kid the goal of who this is gonna affect the most. Like I want to build something so that You know what I mean? How cool would it be growing up saying, "Oh, my dad's the creator of Quample." You know what I mean? Like, oh, my dad was one of the people that helped bring comics back to what they were. Oh, my dad produces this cartoon. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I think of her future, and I would love to have this as my career because I could be home more, and I could see her more. And that sounds like a really great thing. Like Rodrigo said, I don't want to be a millionaire, but it would be great to have like a nice, comfortable home where my kid has a room. So whenever she wants to come with me,
right,
be with me. You know what I mean? And that I get to spoil her, and she gets to be the one that's like, aha, I went to San Diego Comic-Con because my dad's got a booth. You know what I mean? Like that sounds like a really awesome goal.
right. It's like for me, it's as long as I can get my comic out there, and still able to buy food and pay bills and stuff, then that's really all I need for right now.
I mean, that's a great thing to have right there, to actually have that. It's realistic, but it's also satisfying, and it's not that I try not to. I try not to be a killjoy. I am though, but to be like, hey, I understand you want to be the next like Robert Kirkman. You don't have this idea that, but all the thing Robert Kirkman did is like, oh yeah, what if a zombie movie never ended? Hey, it's basically 28 days later. It literally is 28 days later. The story is guy gets hurt, goes to the hospital, wakes up after out of coma, and the world's like everybody's turned into zombies. And there's still some people rummaging around, and it's like the plot of every George Romero zombie movie. The real monsters is man, that kind of thing, and that's all the comic is. That's the zombies barely have any, and TV show as well, barely have any play because it's all about the human drama, which is like that got boring after like the first like 90 issues. I was like, all right, I'm out. I didn't even make it to 100. I'm out. And I don't think Wanpool could get that boring. I don't think anything like. I don't think any idea anybody's presented in the community's got boring. I mean, Rags just seems a little too oppressive at times. It's like, oh god, it's like a little too heavy. It's honestly, a little too heavy sometimes.
I don't know, dude. You got to read more into the character.
Well, that's the thing. On the surface, it looks it's like nice and fun, this and that, and then you read into it, it gets a little. Well, that's a bit heavy. It's not it's kind of like one of those. The more you look at it, the darker it gets.
Yeah,
and that's which is good. I mean, it's not because at one time I misunderstood some things. I was corrected, and in doing so, I was like, okay, and I understand where it is. Like, oh, I kind of wish I didn't understand because it's like, it's rough,
Yeah,
all the PTSD and all that stuff. Like, oh, jeez, but no, it's like it's in a like. Hey, like not too many people are doing that kind of thing, but the stuff I enjoy on a regular basis. It's like I don't necessarily need the world to like reality and like things in reality to smack me in the face a bit. So that's how I look at it. But I was actually looking over some of my old comics that I made, and some of them are like great ideas that I wanted to put down on paper, but actually didn't want to actually expand more than that. Like there's a guy who's a skeleton inside a body bag, and the body bag's full of air, and he's like walking around scaring people. But because he's a skeleton, he can't speak. He can monologue in his head, but he can't speak. And he's hungry because even though he's dead, he still has his consciousness is trapped within the gas. It's like a living, like electrostatic gas. Yeah. And he's at a vending machine and he's shaking it because with the bones and everything. He's frustrated because he can't eat. And end of the story, he just unzips this body bag and all the gas floats and his bones drop to the ground, and he basically kills himself. And it's like that's a good idea, but no, you can't. I couldn't do anything else with it, nor did I want to. And that's like that's the problem with a lot of the stuff I do. And it's just like these ideas that they work great as like a one-off thing. But then you get to the point where it's like, okay, I understand where it is. Like, 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 I But hey, if somebody says, "Oh, I love that. I can't wait for more," I'm like, there ain't no more. That's it. That's all there ever be. But I mean, that's a unique problem to have, I think. So,
do you guys you want to see something cool? Hey, look,
oh no,
Yeah.
is it a dead body? No.
No.
Yes, yes. The answer is yes.
I'm going to send you something on Twitter.
Sorry.
Why don't you go ahead and share with everybody when you get it?
All right.
Hold on, let me just get in here now.
Yeah, because but the story is I did one. It's actually based on reality. Something actually happened, which was let's see.
Yeah, I think you should go ahead. Let's do a world premiere of Wampool page 6.
All right, let's.
Great.
I'm digging this.
Where I start getting nasty. This is where I start getting destructive, gentlemen. This is, you know what I mean? The first 5 pages didn't get to really showcase my art. I'm about to go ham. These next few pages are going to be really fun.
Well, it's nice to see that he is for such a big man. He has such a tiny ass.
Yeah. I really thought on that. That Wampool actually, the way he looks isn't like an like this big mix up of several different funny cartoon characters. Like I'm sure everyone can recognize Peter Griffin in his face. You know what I mean? You can recognize that his clothes, his hair are kind of reminiscent of comic book guy from The Simpsons. I took a lot of iconic looks, and I think that's one of the reasons people tend to just kind of take to him, because he's kind of familiar. You know what I mean? You already look like you
flapping
know.
fat. Like it looks like I can actually almost picture it in my head. The flapping flat and the breeze as it's like he's flying downward.
You know?
I'm getting a very Homer Simpson vibe. Like it's like I can hear his fat whistling going. Ooh, ooh.
I actually was trying to go for Ursula. From
Little Mermaid. Okay.
I was trying to go for Ursula. But I'm very proud. This is page 6.
The world
it
premiere.
Doesn't really explain what's about to happen, but at least we all know what happened to Wampool as page 5. We now know something huge about to happen, and I actually had a lot of fun with that page. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this.
Well, I am digging it, man. Good job, man. Good job.
Yeah.
Can't wait to read it or see more.
How are you gonna to release the comic, Mr. Mahvel?
I have no idea. I'll be honest. Until 4 months ago, the idea of making a comic book was not something I ever considered. It never seemed within my capability or something I can attain. So I literally have no clue what I'm doing. I just draw really good. So step 1, make a book. After that, I'll see on the way. That's kind of what I've been trying to do lately, is kind of get myself gearing up to how I would put this out. Because I'm not quite sure yet.
Sorry, go ahead.
I understand that because I'm in the same category. I have no idea what I am doing. When I learned that Kablam printings, I didn't know that printing on demand was on better quality. Than I always thought printing on demand was bad quality printing, but people have told me that it's actually getting better with time, and now I'm gonna offer my comic in website, so people can ask for their own copy of Red Ninja Momiji.
So you actually did get your the print on demand copy already in?
It's not available yet. The thing is, I ordered some copies for me to check their quality. That way I know exactly why I'm selling to the people. But the problem is, it's gonna take a long time to cross the border, and then maybe 3 weeks or more in customs in Mexico City.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna take a lot. The problem is I don't want to. I need to see them before I start working them.
I was looking at some copies. A friend of mine sent me a bunch of photos. He goes to these conventions, like smaller conventions up his way in the Midwest, and he picked up some of these books, and he was like, "Oh, they were made on Create Space, which is the Amazon deal, the Amazon setup." And it was like the page minimum is like 24 pages, maximum is like 800. But they set it up, and you can buy, basically you buy your own comics from the store, kind of like how other people do it. But the comics that he was showing me, the detail, like the guy was I forgot that guy's name, but he did painting with watercolors, a kid's watercolor set, and it looked beautiful. Like his line art was done by technical pen and everything, but the colors was watercolor. And I was like, "Oh my god, this looks great!" This is Amazon Create Space. Like, yeah, and it's like, say you have like a 100-page comic, you charge $10 for it, you make royalties, like whatever, so you make about $3 or $4 on royalties off that. So I don't know how much, like. So which isn't that bad when you think about it, considering that's basically what Marvel, DC, the rest of these people make. You sell it, you sell something for $3, you only make about $1 off of it. Cover price of $3, the person actually making it only gets like $1. And
so Amazon has their own service of printing in demand.
Yeah, Create Space is what it's called.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I didn't know it. He told me about it. That's the reason I know.
I never heard of it up until now.
Yeah.
And it's actually the quality of the books, as he was showing me, they do everything from matte to matte covers to glossy. And I'm a fan of matte covers. I don't like that. Sometimes the gloss will roll up because of, it's the South. It gets hot, a lot of humidity too, and the covers start rolling up, and you have to put something down to keep it from rolling up. But it's kind of funny to see that happen. But it's not funny when it's your book. But yeah, it's really unfortunate. But I want to, I want to do that, but I'm also hesitant because I really don't like losing control of what I create. I'm not saying I'm not worried about them stealing it. Oh, my OC, please don't steal. No, I'm worried about them screwing it up, and I have only myself to blame because I trusted them not to screw it up. They did, and so I kind of, that's why I like. And I'm surprised. I was actually able to fool a couple people with my comics made on a photocopier, which is just a Staples brand photocopier. I was able to fool some people. Like, oh, you got this professionally printed up? Like, yeah, because the quality, because it's like a lot of these print on demand services, like Kablam. I've seen some decent books from Kablam, and I've seen some trash that Kablam has put out. So you kind of got to be a little cautious on what you get. And I'm kind of bummed out that there isn't more options as far as print on demand. So I really wish there was more, and I understand there's a lot of people that they don't trust that they want to use the standard offset printing, but you got to get that cheap, you got to order like 1,000 copies or whatever. I don't have time for that. I don't have the money for that as well, because that's a lot of money up front, and that's a lot of storage.
Or the space to keep that in your
exactly.
home. Yeah.
But yeah, if there's if there is actually like the Create Space thing where you can buy it from there, buy as many copies as you want, and get them shipped to you, and or send the link out, and you still get royalties and everything. That's great. But yeah, I'm really interested in seeing more people put their work out there, and not just physical, but also whether it be digital as well. And I like that you three. I understand that 3 work digital, but you have aspirations for the physical print as well, which is great. Because I know some people, I'll never do digital, so I'm going to be traditional. I'm like, okay, print, that's great and all, but if you're not built up an audience, if you put your book out there and expect it to fly off the shelves, I mean, that's the only downside about OGNs. Like when they do the original graphic novels, is like there's the comic they did for that the Pulse nightclub shooting that came out a couple years, was it 2 years ago, a year ago, whatever. They did a comic called Love is Love that kind of it's a benefit comic, and they do a lot of these things, like a lot of these benefit comics or whatever. But people order them, stores will order them, but they'll just collect dust. Mainly maybe because the content, but it might also be because there's no hook. Like I understand the single issues are they're a loss leader, but they're a marketing tool to get the word out there. This book does exist. And then like, oh, I was interested. I might wait for the trade. Oh, here it is. Boom. There you go. Pick it up. And it's kind of backwards way of doing it, but it works. I mean, I guess it could work unless we have a system like the French do, which sounds like you wanted to do, Rodrigo, with the a book a year, like when they do those, like the French do those comic albums, like the 50 to 100 page comic stories where
Valerian.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Valerian. Whether Valerian, anything by Mobius, or Black Sad. That's another one. Black Sad, one of my favorite books. I mean, that right there, like just beautiful artwork, well done illustrations as well as story. That kind of noir, even though with the animal stuff gets a little weird because it's like I'm trying to follow. Like, okay, how could this deer person have a kid with a polar bear person, and the kid doesn't look like a polar bear deer? It's hurting my head. It's a little confusing at times, but yeah, it's like really solid stuff, and I'm going to dig what you all do, and it just hit midnight, so I think we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah,
so you all can do your thing, but yeah, this has been fantastic chat. Thank you all for coming.
No problem, sir. Mr.
Thank you.
No problem. This was fun.
Yeah, I thought so too. And thank you for those in the chat stopped by and kept it popping. And we shall do this again sometime soon. And to everyone out there, including the guests, good night and good luck.